Hey fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the grayscale trusts and the markets a little bit. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so today we did have another brutal sell-off in the markets. I do want to actually show you guys something so you can be aware of what's going on. So on the daily time frame on the NASDAQ 100, it does appear that we have had we're not getting a death cross per se quite yet, but it's not exactly looking pretty. You can see the VWAP is below the EMAs right now. That's not great. We also got a breakdown of this triangle pattern. That's also not great. So we would need to hold this flip zone here between 21,200 to 21,300 to ensure that we can actually move higher from this point. Do I think that is likely and is going to happen? Yes, I do, because we saw something very similar back here. It's not exactly the same kind of pattern, but you can kind of see what happened. Actually, as a matter of fact, if we're looking at this one right here, you can see this one actually, this was all the way back in July, just so y'all know. That little pattern actually kind of does look like what we're seeing right now. So it's possible maybe this turns out to be some kind of jagged W pattern or something like that, very similar to what we saw back in July. It wouldn't shock me at all. But again, once we get past the 31st, so after the day after the time that you guys see this, the market should be heading higher from that point, because again, we're rolling into a new year. Happy New Year's, y'all, by the way. I know it's not there yet, but just wanted to say that in advance. And yeah, I think once we get into January, markets are going to start pushing up, because there's going to be a pre-Trump inauguration pump. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case. I would not be shocked at all. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the trusts. I actually did also want to show you guys Bitcoin. So it does appear that Bitcoin is currently testing that level that we talked about before, which is 87 to 92,000. As long as it holds that, I would say we're good. Got a death cross on the daily, however, not great. So we'll have to see how this plays out. The last time we got one of these was when this pullback in time. Of course, everybody and their brother was like, oh, crypto's not going anywhere. It's all dead. The same kind of fixed mentality that I was hearing when we were talking about the divine secrets. Look, I'm not trying to be a dick when I say this to y'all, but a lot of you seem to think you got it all figured out. If you have it all figured out, then what do you need to be here for? Right? Not trying to be rude, but just kind of point that out. So anyways, so if I'm not going to say if we don't hold this level, but worst case scenario, maybe we would come back down to maybe 77,000. For some reason, 85,000 seems to be a big number. Maybe it's because this wick right here, it's roughly about a 50% measure of this candle. Either way, I really highly doubt we're going to get below 87,000. I just don't see that happening. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the charts. The lovely, beautiful, disgustingly ugly looking red charts right now. Okay, so the same pattern that we're currently seeing on the chart, we have seen twice already, every single time it broke out. The difference here I do want to point out is that at that time, the price at the breakout or after the breakout was above the EMAs, whereas right now we're below the EMAs. So a little bit of a contradiction there. There was a wick that came in below this channel, so clearly somebody wanted to buy that. Again, the volume wasn't really low, but I do want to point this out. Okay, usually when the volume is low like this, and I don't think it's just because of the holidays, you can see the volume bars here down at the bottom are actually trending down in terms of the bearishness. So that's quite interesting. Okay, if the volume is really that low, then my guess is we might just about be ready to see a reversal to the upside, because pretty much the reduction in bearish demand here based on the volume bars indicates that likely the steam is running out for the bears and the sellers are getting exhausted. Okay, that's kind of what I'm thinking is going on here. Same thing with the traditional markets as well. I did also want to point this out. on top of the other stuff that we talked about. So the stocks above the 50-day on the S&P has finally hit that level that we have not seen it get hit since roughly about 15 months ago. You can see how pretty rare this signal is. Even for a short-term signal, it's extremely rare to hit that buy zone. We're getting pretty close on the NASDAQ as well, so another indication to me that these sellers are getting exhausted at this point, and we should see a reversal pretty near in the future. I don't know exactly when. Maybe on the first week of January. It's hard to say exactly when to expect this to play out. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. Okay, so buy zones for LTCN still in that same area, 1350 to kind of the 1820. 54 is the swing high, so you got anywhere from 50 or 25 to 54 on this one for roughly about a 310% gain. BCHG. So this one's a little bit different. I mean, we are holding this kind of macro trend line, so I guess you could treat that as support. So maybe anywhere in the green box, 530 to 580. Targets, I'd be looking for anything from roughly about 1050 to 24 for about a 322% gain. HZEN. So yeah, it's still sitting above the structural level. So I'd say about $5 on HZEN. Still going to be a good buy. You could look at the green box below that at 340 to 415 if you're like obviously worried that it's going to go lower. It's always a possibility. I mean, guys, really the market can only go in three directions. Okay, sideways, up, or down. So you got to kind of factor in your probabilities based on what you think is going to happen. I'm just presenting the data here. So 8 to 12.25 for the potential targets here. So best case scenario, 151 or 151%. Worst case scenario, you have to buy down here, 260% gain. ETCG. So it does appear that we might be holding this trend line here. You can see this trend line was holding as resistance. Now we're trying to retest its support. So maybe anywhere between $10 to, I'd say maybe about 12.25 could be a good buying area. 1850 to 20 as the target for about a 98% gain. ETH. I'd say pretty much anywhere in this green box. I mean, the EMAs are in the green box. We've seen this before. The price can kind of go anywhere around where the EMAs are. Usually it likes to always retrace to it. The EMAs serve as a retracement tool, a median for price. That's kind of how this works. It's like a rubber band. When it gets extended too far in one direction, it always has to come back to the center, right? Okay, so buy zone down here, 2340 to 2840 as the kind of bull zone, so to speak. 52.5 for that cup and handle target as the profit target potential here for about 129% gain. GBAT, let's see. Yeah, I don't like this price action. This looks kind of funky. It's not real textbook. I like textbook kind of stuff. This is kind of ugly. I don't like it. Anyways, buy zone anywhere from, I'd say probably 4.5 to going up to about just shy of $8 could be a good area to potentially get in at. 32 for the all-time high. Target here is 663% gain. Now, I want to point this out to y'all so we can keep things in context here, okay? Look, I know the price is mainly just going sideways in this fat accumulation zone, which is pretty much all I'm seeing right now. We've talked about this literally probably a dozen times now. When it goes sideways, that's either accumulation or distribution. At these levels, I would say probably accumulation. Unless there was some kind of black swan event, which I don't really see happening. Plus, these are flip zones. When we flip a zone and we keep going higher, that's known as a flip zone. You flip resistance into support, and then the price keeps kind of going up, creating higher highs and higher lows in a bull trend. But the thing I want to point out here is when we get some kind of breakout, just understand it can happen suddenly and out of nowhere, and it can be extremely fast. Okay, you can see the current price that we're sitting at right now. Last time we had a serious parabolic move on this thing, it happened in five weeks. Okay, little over a month, and it went up 550%. So I know the whole waiting thing. Trust me, I hate it too. We're still waiting on quite a few positions to move up substantially, but usually when those moves come, they come very, very quickly. Okay. Like this one on CLSK, literally in 2 weeks, it went from $10 to $18. Okay. Usually when these explosive moves happen, they are extremely fast, and especially in crypto, they do not take long to play out. Okay. In this case, it went from what was this, like $7 to $24 in a matter of 5 weeks. So I just want to throw that out there for y'all. When these big parabolic moves do come, you may be a little caught off guard. Just remember that is normal for crypto. That's how crypto operates. It tends to do a whole lot of nothing until it doesn't do nothing. And then all of a sudden you get these absolutely stupid moves that just completely catch people off guard in a very short period of time. And then, by then either you've held all the way to the top and then back down thinking it's going to go higher, or you just simply didn't get in because it was too boring and it didn't look like it was really all that appealing. If you don't want to be the guy that doesn't make money in these markets, you gotta, again, not financial advice, but you gotta, maybe think about learning to think like smart money, not like dumb money or retail money. Okay, so FILG, buy zones down here at the EMA is 60 to 65 on the EMAs. So 400 for the all-time high target. It could go much higher than that, 550% gain. GLIB, again, it's mainly just going sideways. I just see this as accumulation. So buy zone down here at 1150 to 15. Target would be all the way up at the top here at 80 for roughly about a 550% gain. G-Link, EMA is pretty much sitting at support here, so I'd say the support isn't going to be the buy area, 65 to 84. Keep in mind the EMAs are not a perfect indicator of a reversal. It could go slightly below the EMAs, get a wick below, or not even touch it and then keep going. That could always happen. The markets are notorious for trying to trick people. So 220 is the all-time high up here. That's what I'd be setting my sights on initially, so 200% gain. GSOL, still trying to find a bottom here. I think it probably will bottom somewhere around kind of maybe that $20 area. Nice round numbers. A lot of people usually look at that. Targets 71 to 115 for about 480% gain. GXLM does look like it's trying to hold this structure level, so we'll see how that plays out. Again, that kind of 36 to 40 would be personally where I'd be looking to pick it up if I was going to pick any up. Okay, so 68 to 95 here as potential targets for about 160% gain. And keep in mind, again, when it comes to price discovery, once these things finally do get past all-time highs, and I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like, because when it happens, it is just, I mean, man, you can't even believe it until you see it. It's crazy. But those that have the vision, that understand what they're looking at, that are willing to see what could be, not what is, will understand just what is possible here. And no, I am not going to go into the whole be unburdened by the unburdening and whatever Kamala was talking about. I don't care about that. I'm just simply stating that if you have the mind of a visionary, you can see things. It's different from precognition, but even a visionary can see things that could potentially be to create a world that they want to create, right? Like, for example, Trump or pretty much all the politicians in office, they all kind of think this way. Martin Luther King Jr., Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Lee. I could go on and on and on about people that have this kind of mindset. If you know what's coming and you know what to look for, you'll know what to expect. But anyways, MSTR, once we got this breakout, it went absolutely stupid. This is even more pronounced on, was it the daily time frame? Maybe it's the biweekly. I can't remember. Yeah, so you can see on the biweekly here, I mean, this is just, look at how ridiculous this is, right? In 8 weeks, this thing did more than a double. And again, you wouldn't have thought, like, if you were a retail guy and you're just looking at this like, oh yeah, it's just going sideways. This is garbage. I don't want to touch this. Well, you just missed out on potentially more than double your money. So in that particular scenario, I mean, again, I can't guarantee anything, but I'm just kind of pointing that out. We've talked about this particular kind of situation literally endless amounts of times at this point. Okay, so mana buy zone 10, I'd say about 10 and a quarter going up to probably somewhere in that $20 range. Again, that is a big range, but this is mostly just accumulation down here. 70 for the swing high or the all-time high, 570% gain, Zcash. So anywhere from the top of this green box to the white lines, so 515 to roughly about, I'd say 630 is a potential buy area. And then $8 going all the way up to 10 and a quarter. Of course, if you want to hold for higher than that and adjust according to your cost basis, then you can kind of figure out what your profit targets are going to be for you. All right, so 101% gain on this one. I'll wrap the video up by saying this. I think a lot of what's going on right now is probably going to reverse here soon. I think it's hard to say exactly what's going on, but I think like there's a lot that happens at the end of the year. Okay, people got to get ready for their taxes for the following year. You have a new political administration coming in. Some people are worried that may be a bad thing. In my opinion, I don't think it's going to be. And then you have the Fed, of course, coming out and throwing the wrench in the cogs, so to speak, with the, oh, well, we're just not really sure if we're going to cut as many times next year, guys. Sure hate it for you, you know. Look, I'm going to tell you all right now, I'm pretty confident the Fed might have just been talking down the markets. They do that a lot, believe it or not. That is one of the antics that the Fed pulls. This is just my opinion, of course, but I've been studying this stuff for a very long time. I can tell you with almost absolute certainty that's what's going on right now. And I'm pretty confident the Fed is still going to cut rates a lot next year. Okay. They're saying they're not. I'm pretty sure they're going to. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one out there in the markets that thinks this. As a matter of fact, a lot of the banks have come out and been pretty bullish on the S&P, saying that there's targets of like 6,500, 7,000, something like that by the end of next year. If that's the case, then I think the Fed news is just temporary and the markets are kind of like a, sell the news event, buy the following FMC or something like that, or, sell the news, buy the Trump pump or whatever kind of weird notion is going on right now. So you got that, and you got the mark to market at the end of the year. You have these big, huge hedge funds and whales and all that trying to reposition their portfolios for the following year. Because again, you got to understand, okay, some investors will invest differently based on whatever congressional policies are in place. Okay, so I'll give you an example. We know that the Democratic Party is very pro tech company, right? So let's say in some alternate reality, Kamala did win, which she didn't, and she's not going to, but let's say in some alternate reality, she did win, okay? The investors that would have otherwise positioned with what Trump was going to go with would now be positioning into tech. But since Trump's come in office and there's been like this whole censorship topic about, Trump and some other people are pissed off that they've been trying to censor the right. And I don't want to get into politics deep here, but you know what I'm saying. They're afraid that maybe Trump's going to come in and try to slam the tech companies. And so investors will pull their money out of tech and they're going to put it into whatever Trump is going to be the most bullish on, like, let's say, crypto, for example. Trump is probably going to be very pro crypto. Well, we already know that. He's probably also going to be very pro small business. So maybe your Russell 2000 stocks. So investors are going to want to maybe consider taking at least some of their money out of big tech, moving it into crypto and into Russell 2000 small cap companies. This is a good example of repositioning and what that would look like at the end of the year, especially in an election year or midterm year when, you're taking a look at policy shifts. So the kind of chaos that we're seeing at the end of the year right now, did I think it was going to happen? No, but all things considered, everything that's going on with the many, many different things that are going on across the economic and political landscape right now, am I shocked? Not really. Like I said, I think likely this sell-off we're seeing is almost over, and we should see some pretty bullish momentum coming pretty soon. Uh, Again, I don't know exactly when, probably leading up to the inauguration and well after that would be my guess. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.